Okay, guys, I really want to finish chap, so let me continue. So guys, that is if they want for all, but usually they ask for TAR or throughput counting ratio for a single product out of the group. Okay, like in this question, part B wanted you to compute this very one, but specifically for now B, they want B only. Okay, compute the TAR for product B. Throughput accounting ratio, product B. So how do you go about it? Okay, for a single product,
Yes, as if they are answering this same thing.
okay, for B alone, this formula still remain the same. Okay, now total throughput let's copy this one. Okay, the formula still remains the same. This total throughput out of total factory cost. However, this cost still now here the issue is on the total cost. Okay, total factory cost. For B alone, B, okay, for B alone, it has the variable component, which is given by the 9600 times the number of units that you have produced, which is at 2000. Then on it, you add the fixed cost of this 170M. However, we said this 170M is for both products. Okay, so for B, you're going to divide by 11,000, which is the total, this one here, maximum cost or maximum hours for all the products. Then times only its component or its part, which is just 1,400. I hope we're together. Okay. So the answer I will get in that regard is this times. I'm not using this one. I'm using the variable cost. Okay. Just so the figures are the same, so I've just borrowed this one times this divided by.
Why are you dividing fixed cost by 11,000?
Okay. So we're saying that for 11 hours, the maximum capacity, 11 hours. Yeah. The fixed cost is 140,000. 147,50,000. Okay, but they're saying that all these hours were not spent on what? On B alone. Okay. Not all these hours were spent on B alone. B just consumed only 1,400 only. So because of that, this fixed cost is apportioned based on the factory hour. So that's how we end up dividing by 1,000, by 11,000, because we're saying that for just 1,400, which was spent at B, I only have spent as much as. Please mute. In case you have asked the question, you unmute. After I've answered, then you. Okay. So please mute. So that's how I end up having this. And here. Okay, so when you have this value, of course, you're as good as done. Okay, because total throughput for B was given in our first formula here. We got 90,400,000. So you come and therefore divide. You just say, please mute whoever is unmuted. Okay, so the answer will be that divided by this. you get 0.6. So you know how to comment that if TAR, okay, allow me to comment on this. Okay, so having computed, you're supposed to comment on TARs. Now the way you comment is say they're called TP, not TPAR or TAR, throughput accounting ratios. Okay, they are commented upon based on a 1. Okay, so whenever this is greater than, let me start with equals to 1. Whenever it is equal to 1, okay, whenever this value is equal to 1, we say that someone or whoever is going to make the decision will be indifferent. Okay. You can choose to say that the business is doing well or doing badly, or taking the project or not. Okay. Then when it is less than.
What do you mean indifferent?
I just explained that you don't know what to, you don't have a side to belong. It's neither good nor bad. That's how somebody becomes indifferent. If you're choosing 2 guys and you really can't choose, then you're indifferent. Okay. If it is easier for you to choose 1, then you're not indifferent. You make up your mind. Okay. So by being indifferent, we're saying you can't make a decision. You can't, like, it's not obvious for you to say yes or no. Okay, that's what we mean by being indifferent. I hope I've answered you. I beg your pardon to repeat to me. Get to put right after. Okay. Yes, nephew. So we're saying if it is greater than 1, then here you just accept. You accept, or we say it is a good performance. Okay, why? Because throughput, by the formula alone, throughput, remember, it is like contribution, it's like profit. So whenever the figure up is bigger and you're dividing with a small figure, you always get something greater than 1. So whenever it's greater than 1, therefore, we are saying it's a good thing because it means that profit is a lot and can cover all the factory costs. Okay. Then if throughput ratio is less than less than 1, less than 1, then we say we reject. Okay. Reject, or we say it's a bad performance. Okay. For whoever asked for indifference, I hope you can see the difference. That here it's easier for you to say it's a good thing or I want it. Okay. Just like you can say I don't want it or it's bad. But where it is equal to 1, it's so hard for you to say that this one is not good or it's not bad. Okay. That's what you call being indifferent. You can't make a decision easily. Okay. But whoever says you can choose to accept it or reject it. Okay, and you're correct, and you can justify that. Yes, Ronnie. I already saw your hand. You can.
Yes. I was asking.
Yeah.
How did you find the total factory costs? I'm saying what you calculated, but what is the method?
Okay.
I'm only saying values.
All right. Total factory costs, you get total variable costs, and you add other fixed costs that are there. That's total factory costs. As long as it refers to all other costs except material costs. That's what I can say.
So what about the total throughput?
Total throughput, depending where you are. Okay. If you're looking for this, like where I am now, they're saying that total throughput is given by throughput per unit times the number of units produced. Okay. For B, it is the 45,200, which is throughput per unit, times the 2,000 units that you produced. You get 90,400. Okay. That is how we get it. Alternatively, you will get total sales okay, which is given by selling price times the number of units produced, you get the total sales. Minus total direct costs, which is still given by direct cost per unit times total number of units produced. The difference of the two will give you total throughput. So to be the same answer.
So Andrew,
Mm.
again here on total factory costs, I'm saying you put 9,600 times 2,000, which I've understood,
Mm.
but then you added the total fixed costs.
Mm.
But then you divided by 11,000, the hours times the 1,400.
Mm.
Why?
The fixed cost, we're saying that it was belonging to two products. Okay, that 140 covered two products, covered A and B. So we're saying for costing purposes, this is a fixed cost. So we're supposed to allocate it, okay, to both product A and B. In allocating it, what you only have is the bottleneck or the limiting factor. And so we're going to use to distribute the fixed cost such that B gets his share alone. Okay, you can't give it the entire 140. That is unfair. It's like what? Giving a kid to wear shoes for a big person. Okay, so to remove that, we try to allocate and make sure that each gets his own share that he deserves. That's what I was trying to do here. I already explained that, by the way. Someone had asked it earlier. Here we say that 11,000 hours cater for the entire fixed cost. So about just the 1,400 that was held by B, product B. That's how you get it. Okay, I've answered you in that regard. If you are given operating expenses,
Yes, thank you.
Yes, if you're given operating expenses, they're the same as factory costs. Like I already told you, that all these other costs, except material costs, are factory costs. Okay. Let's look at what. So guys, that is how we do throughput for both single product and multi-product, and how you compute, comment, reject and accept. Last time I tried to predict regarding single and multi, it didn't come out well. So try to prepare for both. Let's look at what now. Yes, go back to now ABC and tradition. Okay, if you go to ABC and the traditional method, someone shared the question with me. Can share here. Okay, this question 4. So I already talked about the theory. I really don't want to repeat it, and I beg you bear with me in that regard. Okay, shall just think as we go about it. So you're given question 4. They said you compute. By the way, in PM, they always ask for unit cost, because they wanted to determine the price, right? Okay, so they'll give you information. They wanted to compute the unit cost and a quoted price, or a price that you could apply to each using labor hours to absorb overheads. Once you see something like this, using labor hours, using a single, guys, please mute. Shakira, please mute. So I was saying, whenever you see, like I already explained earlier in my introduction, that if the cost driver or the level of activity is a single one and it's applying to all overheads, we call that TPC, traditional process costing. However, where you're given a variety of cost drivers, then you're using ABC. Okay, so that was the question, and we're going to apply. Let's first do additional cost. So they said Brick by Brick is a company or is a building company that provides a range of building products and services to the public. Recently, they were tasked with quotation prices for garage conversions, okay, and extension products. Okay, so you have two. I think those are more of two cost centers. Then they say that BBB has a policy to price all jobs at budgeted total cost plus 25% to cover for business profit. Okay, so this is markup. Okay, so ideally supposed to determine the production cost first. So then they went on to say that overheads are currently absorbed on a labor hour basis. So whenever they say currently or previously or historically, just know it's TPC. Then they say that BBB, however, thinks that a switch to ABC, okay, to absorb overheads would reduce the costs associated to GC and EP, and hence make them competitive in the long run. Okay, those are the cost centers. The planned output is 25,000 conversions for GC planned, okay, and 50,000 extensions for EP. You are provided further with this information. So you're given the overhead type, the annual budget, the activity driver, then the total number of activities per unit. Then they're saying the typical GC cost is 35,000 in material. So costs are direct, and 3,000 hours or labor hours still are direct. Requires 1,000 site visits and 10,000 planning documents to complete, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So we're going to attack this question accordingly. Okay. So if I may share my worksheet, whenever they give you to determine, is it anything to do with costs and there are several products, always have your lineup as detail. Okay. You may have a total column or you may not. Okay, this is really optional. Then put the products, the cost center. So this case we have the GC and the EP. Those are my products or cost centers in this regard, or departments. Okay, so you move line by line. Usually you begin with whatever you have, but preferably, of course, you have to begin with direct material. So you may have material, and I think also add labor, in case labor is direct. Okay. Labor hours. Okay, I hope I've shared my worksheet. The question, I didn't want to share it again.
Yes, you have.
Okay. They say that the typical GC, okay, a typical garage conversion costs 35 million in materials. Okay, so it's direct, and 30,000 labor hours. Okay, and it requires 1,000 visits and 10,000 plan documents to complete. Okay, so if I may write those the way they are, back to the worksheet. So they said here, you're going to spend 35 million. 5,000. Okay, 35 million, sorry, not 1,000. Then labor, you're given hours. So usually hours, you don't include them in your worksheet. You don't include them in your course. Okay, even if they give you tables, always whenever you move line by line, what you bring here is money, costs only. Nothing like units, hours, no. Okay, so labor given 30, but those are hours. Then you require 1,000 visits, still those are units. 10 planning documents, still those are really units. Then on the other hand, a typical EP, okay, costs 80,000 or 80 million. So you bring 80 million here. Okay, then still you're given labor hours, units, blah, blah. Okay, then they said that in both cases, labor is paid at 1,500 per hour. Now, in that case, that's when you now bring the other units. Will you see what I've done? Because the cost per unit is 1,500. So if you're spending 30,000 hours on GC, we're saying that will be 1,500 times 30,000. That is how much you spend in labor. It's 45 million. Okay. Then for EP, they said it is 50,000 hours. So in the same way, it's 1,500 each. Since there are 50 hours, 50,000, sorry, that will give me that. Okay, I hope we are together. Then, so that's it for direct costs. Now you go now to your overheads and you start moving line by line. Okay, line by line. Okay, the other thing I want to emphasize is using totals is usually the best or the easiest way to deal with things. Using totals. Okay. Otherwise, per unit is also okay. But I encourage for those who really like just passing and you just want to have good grades and move on. I would encourage you to just always use totals. But per is also good. So if you're interested, you can always reach out to me and show you. What are the steps? The steps I've already explained. That one, I already talked about this. I already said that one, you identify the products or the cost centers, which you have done. It is GC and EP. Two, you allocate the overheads. Okay, or you identify the overheads, which you're going to look at. But I first dealt with the direct, which is not part of the workings. Okay, because direct are direct, just put them the way they are. So let's go to the overheads, which is step 2. So for overheads, you identify the overheads the way they are. So in this question, we're given supervision as one overhead. Okay, and the total was given as 90 million. Annual, it's 90 million. Okay, then we're also given the other overhead was planning. Okay, and it was given as 70 million in the entire year. As the other was property control. Okay, which was given as 240 million. Okay, so that's a step 2. Identify the overhead and classify or quantify them. Okay, so by knowing that these are the overheads and you put the amounts to them, that's step 2. Step 3 says that you now identify the cost drivers. Okay, now for TPC or traditional costing, it is always one, it's always the same, and it was given as direct labor as hours. Okay, we're given as for TPC. The cost driver was 1 and it is given as hours, labor hours, as a matter of fact, labor hours. Okay, I can share with you that part of the question so that you don't say, where is that coming from? Okay, here they say that overheads are currently absorbed on a labor hour basis. If that's not enough, part A still says that you compute using labor hours to absorb overheads. Okay, so labor hours were that. Now, the formula after identifying the cost driver, you get now the OAR, what you call the overhead absorption rate. Okay, now for TPC, I saw in class they say that you choose just combine, don't split it. But that is, in my opinion, I feel that is dangerous in case part B asks, for example, what was the supervision costs allocated to EP? If they ask you that, how will you get that? How will you get the answer? I don't say you get the answer, because what they did in classes, they combined it, because now these ones share the similar cost driver, they just use it as one line, that all overheads were absorbed at once. Okay, which in my opinion, I feel that is dangerous. However, feel free to do that. So the overhead, the method I already told you that it's budgeted cost, or the overhead divided by budgeted level of activity. Usually this is the cost driver, budgeted cost driver. So if you go line by line, since purposes of time, let's use the class one, since she's not going to mark. Okay, we're going to get the totals. Okay, so the total of this, okay, TPC here, the total of that is 400. So you get your 400. Okay, and divide by the total level of activity. The total level of activity, we saw that
the screen.
Sure. If I share the screen, maybe I can just first get the cost drivers. The cost drivers were given, they had given them to us. We had 30,000. And we had 50,000. Okay, and they told you nothing, just that. Okay, I can share the screen now. Sorry about that. I hope I didn't. I had shown most of the part. So back to this. How do we determine the OAR? So I was saying that for TPC, okay, they were combining. They removed this line here and they made it one line. They said, you know what? Since they are going to be the same, and they're not going to ask you how much you gave of planning to GC and EP, or of supervision to GC and EP. That is if they don't ask, but I doubt. Okay, so you always use the total, which is 400. 400,000. So when you use this, it means that these lines since I'll need them later, let me put them down. Okay, for TPC, it's saying, I don't mind, just generalize. Okay, at least in class, that's what you did. So now still saying that, yeah, you're going to get the budgeted cost, which is 400,000, 400 million for all. And then you divide by the total budgeted cost driver or level of activity, which is also 80,000. Okay, so my OAR will be equal to this divided by that, which is 5,000. Now that's step 3. Define or determine OAR. So for TPC, why it's generalized, by the way, for starters, is because the cost driver is the same. That they're going to use labor for supervision, use labor for what was it? What was the other item? For planning and the other, the same. So that's why most of the time they usually try to generalize it. But in case they ask you for supervision alone, how much it took to GC, you may have to redo it. So having said that, we come and absorb. Now, step 4, you absorb. How we absorb is you get the OAR, which is this one that you've computed, times the level of activity under each. So for GC, it was just 30,000. Then for EP, they're saying it's still the OAR times level of activity under EP, which is 50. and you get that. So by doing this, you have allocated all overheads at once. Okay, which is dangerous, but we have done it. Okay. Then you add, okay, total production costs. The production costs. Okay, for trying to add these. So for GC, just add and you get that. And then for EP, you have that. So those are your totals. Now to get cost per unit, it is as simple as what? Just dividing by the number of units under each. Okay, so still this was given in the question. They say that, let me take you there small, let me answer the questions. 80,000 from where? 80,000 from the hours under each. Let me take the question and show you that, and I show you, and it's show you. Okay, here they say that under GC, you need 30,000 labor hours. Then under EP, you need 50,000 labor hours. So our total budgeted labor hours will be the 50 plus 30, giving you the 80,000. Okay, I hope I've answered you. Now, back to this one. Now, here, we're given the output or the level of activity, the number of units under each. So for GC, it's 25,000. For EP, it is 50,000. So it's going to help us to get cost per unit. So 25 and 50. So if you go to the question, I mean the sheet. So it's saying that volume production, this one is 25,000. This one is 50,000. Okay, so therefore my cost unit or cost per unit, it's given by the total divided by the number of units under each. Okay, so for GC, the total was 230 million divided by the number of units that it produced, which is 25,000, to give you 9,200 as the cost per unit. So unless you have any questions, that's how we determine cost per unit under TPC. Okay, I've used a shortcut, but it's supposed to be longer than that. Okay, so let's look at ABC. Of course, now if you ask you to comment about the price, what now the price here, they even gave us the markup. They gave you the markup as 25%. Okay, 25%. Okay, so if you want your selling price or the markup itself, it will be given as this, the percentage times the cost. Okay, it was given in the question. So for those who are wondering, it was 25% on cost. So therefore,
how do you get to this? You said the overhead, the total is 400,000 as given in the question.
Yeah.
How do you allocate it between GC and EP?
You first get the OAR, which is this, and you
5,000,
observe
yes,
based on the level of activity under each. That for GC, the hours were 30,000. Then for EP, it was 50. So therefore, the allocation is such that you get the OAR times the level of activity.
Okay.
So for
then that's
GC,
total production cost.
total production cost, just add. You add all the costs under each.
Oh, Kali.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So selling price, cost plus markup. You get the selling price. Okay, so guys, that is TPC for you. Okay, if you have generalized the overheads like it was done in class, so you want to do what it was done in class just to avoid issues. Okay, then if you go to ABC now, ABC does not differ significantly from this one, and I'm going to adjust this one. So allow me to do that. Okay, just for purposes of record, I'll need that in future. Let me copy this side. And paste. Okay. Okay, so guys, for ABC, how different is it? Okay, and I think it's not very different. Okay, if you know your TPC, then you know ABC. Just like if you know ABC, then you know TPC. Okay, now for ABC, you're not allowed to generalize. You can't just get this one total and you divide it by the OAR to get the overhead absorption rate. And the reason is clear that because first of all, the level of activity or the cost driver is different, everything will be different. So with the OAR under ABC, you must make sure that you go item per item, item per item. So we shall begin with supervision. Of course, I know that you know these, you know that you take them directly. Okay, so supervision comes first. Now you say supervision. Okay. And what was the driver for supervision? The driver for supervision was, let me take the question. Okay, guys, I'm going to just do one because the link's almost closing. Then I expect it to do the others. Yeah. So, if I share the right question, it's not the right one. So here, they give information as usual. So they say supervision, you use visit sites or site visits as the cost driver. Okay, and they gave you the total, which is 5,000. So budgeted level of activity for supervision is 5,000 site visits. So you come here and you say, you're working, you say 5,000. 5,000. Okay. Which I'm going to divide, or which will be divided by the supervision cost is 90,000. So it's 90,000 divided by the level of activity, which is 5,000. Okay, so the OAR for supervision alone is this divided by that, which is 18,000. So you bring here and say site visits. Site visits. Okay, you don't have to bring it here because it's not part of the workings. Just I'm bringing it here because it's my working and not the answer. Okay, so under BC, the visits were, it's very important. I don't know why I'm ending up this side. Here they say that a typical GC, the visits you will have to make 1,000. 1,000 visits for GC. Then for EP, you will make 4,000. Okay. Oh, link is going to close again. Okay. So this is the information I have, that for GC you have 1,000, for EP you have 4,000, and the total is 5,000. So for me to get my